Yo, what's going on, nerds? Back at it with another video. How to use saturation to get louder mixes, not meaning like, definitely for mastering, but before the mastering stage. Meaning how to get louder mixes when you're sending them out to clients or artists or whatever you call them. Lately, I've been mastering a lot of the stuff that I've been mixing just because I haven't had any luck with the bigger mastering houses, and I've tried to use a couple really popular people, but it's nothing to do with the mastering. So yeah, I've just been like mastering a lot of the stuff that I've been working on, or at least like learning how to, and trying to get to a competitive level, and obviously just not distort and the obvious. So yeah, just this is a pretty competitive level. I mean, it's definitely not like sitting up there with a mastered level, but it's pretty close. So yeah, I brought it down 10 dB just in case it's clips YouTube or something or whatever. I'm not really sure what the loudness is for YouTube. And yeah, this track is something I'm mixing right now. It's for this artist, Liska, that I work with a lot. I'll make sure to link her last EP that I engineered like 90% of it and mixed the whole thing, and it got mastered somewhere else. So yeah, I'll make sure to link that in there. This is like current track that I'm working on for her next EP. Obviously no vocals because I don't want to leak anything, but productions should be fine. And it's not all the production, it's just like the majority of it. With the vocals, it would hit about 9, which is pretty sick. So like obviously right now, so yeah, whatever, almost 10 basically. And then the max being at 8.6 right now. I think it got up to like 7. With the vocals, the average was about 9 or 8, so it's pretty competitive. I think 8 is usually where people try to shoot for, or 9. The most important thing is I use Avid's Heat, which like I said, it's built in. You can read more about it. I'm not really going to explain it. So basically you have your saturation, and then what the coloration of the saturation, bright or dark. Left being dark, right being bright. And obviously less drive or more drive. Basically it's supposed to be emulating a console in a way. Without the heat, this is what it would sound like. And like I said, it's still almost at the level it was at before. It's not getting that much more, but it helps. So here's with it on. So yeah, that's bypass on bypass. So it definitely does something. Obviously it's adding some level for sure, which is good because you're mixing into it, or you're mixing with it when you're using this built-in feature. I don't like it. I will say I think I have it bypass. I usually bypass it on the bass because I don't like what it does to the bass. So yeah, I have the main bass that's playing throughout the song. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's definitely not saturation that I don't like, because I am saturating, like I'm using the little radiator. For some reason I just don't like how this sounds on bass, and I think I've heard that somewhere else before too, like watching someone's video, they said the same thing. For some reason it just like it gets like a little cloudy, if that makes sense. So yeah, like I said, heat is the first stage of building your way up to getting really loud. The second thing I like to do is, obviously I'm saturating on the individual stuff too. I think another thing too is like not level matching. I think there's a weird thing about level matching. I think you should level match when you're trying new plugins out, because you want to hear what it's doing. Otherwise, like once you know what it's doing and you start mixing with it a lot more, I just don't think it's a good idea to level match everything, because first of all, it takes you out of the zone, because then you got to think about it, because then you're just so focused about level matching as you mix, which can be distracting and take away from like the flow and the mindset you're in. And then second of all, I think that's just part of mixing. Like you just kind of go with it. I like to like move really fast when I'm mixing. So the last thing I want to do is like stop myself because all of a sudden the vocals sound a little bit louder, or the kick drum sounds a little bit louder. It's like for sure you definitely want to like readjust because maybe you had it at a right level previously before you slap that plugin on. And I'm specifically talking about just anything right now. Clearly you want to, you know, readjust your level and stuff, but I wouldn't like worry about it too much, you know, like I would just go with it. Cause I think that's the whole part of this too, that I think why all this works is because I'm not level matching as I go. And I mean, I definitely did do it at first, but like once I started getting like serious about mixing, like as soon as I like stopped doing that, I got mixes done a lot faster. My mixes got way louder, and I just felt better about using the plugins. Like I understood them more, you know what I mean? EQ is a big thing. Let's see, like this, I use a lot. I like to boost everything with this, like the important frequencies, I think. Like 30 hertz for some sub, 200. If this went up to 300, that would be nice. Just a little bit more. So I kind of widened the Q just to assume that it's reaching around 300 because that's adding like a lot of the low mids and there's a lot of important information there. Or what people like to say, which I hate, is like warmth. Usually that's where that area is. So I like to add that. And I don't know, what I like about this EQ too is it doesn't tell you how much you're adding, which I enjoy a lot because I'm just like, all I care about is if it sounds better or worse, and that's it. And I just keep moving. You know, it's like I love the plugins that don't have any displays of numbers as you're gaining or, you know, taking away level or something. Then a little bit of 2K for the vocals area, and then a little bit of shine. Sometimes it's more important to boost with EQ and pushing frequencies than it is to literally raise a fader. When you're using EQ, you're only boosting the important stuff. Or sometimes you just need something to poke through. And whether, like, let's say it's the vocal, like you just need the vocal to poke through. Maybe just instead of raising the fader, because it does sound good where it's at, maybe just boosting a little bit of 2 to 5K or whatever will get you there. I mean, that's like, so this, you know, there's just stages to this. Doing this EQ move on the overall mix is adding a little bit of gain. So it's like all these little moves like add up. The next thing this is something I've been doing the last like month is, which I feel like it makes sense really thinking about it. I don't know why I just didn't do it. These are the two limiters I use, and I'm not even using the, you know, the full Ozone standard or Ozone. I don't even know what it's called because I don't own it. The whatever the top tier is, but I know the standard one. This is just the elements, and I'm just using what they give me, and I was kind of just like messing around with it. I think the limiter, I'm pretty sure the limiter is exactly the same as the next two tiers. Obviously you're getting less options with the control of the limiter, but that's fine with me because this is not doing all my limiting. So this is like exactly default as far as like the threshold and ceiling is at 0, just how it is. Threshold's at 2. I like how this algorithm sounds. I moved for this specific song, I moved it up to 0.50 because I think it's at 2 at default. And then I messed with the transients a little bit. Because I felt like this thing did a really nice job, at least on this song. So yeah, this is as far as like limiting goes, this is like where another thing of level comes. So here's without it. And then here's with it. And obviously, clearly I'm adding, you know, 2 dB of gain. But the other important thing is doing EQ. I don't really try to mess with any mid-side in the mix itself. I try to just keep that for mastering purposes if it needs it. I'm not really going to go too detail on what I did. It's just like, you know, it was just like what I was hearing, what it needed. But the important thing here is that I am boosting with EQ. Instead of just adding more gain on the limiter, I decided to boost the frequencies that I was missing or that I wasn't feeling in the song, you know? So in the mids, again, I'm boosting a little bit of that 300 area. Again, I felt like the Millennia still wasn't pushing the vocals through. So I did a little bit more with this because this is like, I don't know. I know it says analog, but to me, it still sounded like a clean EQ. I just needed like an overall EQ. And I don't think, yeah, I'm not doing anything here. And then on the sides, boosting a lot, 3 dB. I guess that's a lot, not really. On the sides, just to make it sound like it's a little bit brighter than it is. And then in the mids, I'm cutting out that area because I just felt like it was muddying up the middle of the song. So like the bass, the kick, you know, anything that's in the middle. I felt like it's not as important on the sides, in my opinion, for this song at least. I just really started getting into Imager stuff, like stereo stuff. I never did it because I didn't understand it, and I just didn't want to do something I didn't understand yet. But I've been doing this a lot lately, and it's a little bit. It's not a lot. You definitely don't want to go too crazy with it. This I felt like really made the mix sound a little bit louder too, you know, because like mixing is definitely about tricking the ears, and this made it sound like it was louder. So I added a little bit. It's like 3, which I don't think is a lot at all. So I'll bypass every individual module. So here's just with the EQ. So yeah, that was the EQ in and out. Here's just the Imager. This made the synths, it gave space to them and made them sound a little bit more. Obviously, it's making the entire track sound wider, but this really made the synths shine. And then we got the maximizer. Whoops. And then this guy, I'm not doing anything. This is as default, I believe. The only thing I did was turn on the true peak on the limiter, and that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the limiting. I kind of skipped around. I started from the top, and then I did the black box again. I love this thing. You can really push it. This is kind of like a setting that I saw on an Andrew Shep's video, and I kind of modified it myself. I think he had like the mix at 50, but I don't know. I don't really like this kind of, with these kind of tools being mixed in sometimes, especially like on an overall, like the overall mix. Like I like everything to be like 100%, you know. I don't know, I just think it's weird. I think it sounds weird sometimes. So this is without it. This thing was really like this really helped with the mid-range, in my opinion. Like the low mids, the bass, the drums come through. Again, the synths come through with this. So I really liked what this did to the track. And then compression. Just like the drums, that's it. This always helps the drums. And then obviously I'm gaining a little bit. I don't know how much that would be, I guess. I don't even know. I like I said, I don't really care. I just like gained it back up, and that's where it sounded nice to me. So, and then I think this is most like corrective. Yeah, this is just like little stuff. Yeah, see, it just sounds like a little bit more control. It got like out of control. just really tamed it a lot. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, it's mostly just like, you know, first thing is not level matching, especially when it comes to mixing, and assuming that you do understand your plugins. Like, once you really understand what they're doing, there's no reason to level match anymore, because you should know like how to push them, how much you can push into them, and what they're able to do for you. So no level matching. Second thing is using saturation as much as possible when needed, and then using EQ to boost important frequencies than it is taking stuff out. I mean, obviously take stuff out on the individual stuff, but like overall EQ, like if you're not hearing something, maybe try reaching for that frequency range first, then raising the fader. Like if it's something minimal, like if it's something like, yo, vocals need to come up like, you know, 2 dB or 3 dB, like obviously reach for the fader first. But if for some reason that's not feeling right, or it's you're just like where everything's at, and you just want little stuff to poke through, maybe try reaching for like an EQ or something. And then obviously also you're getting, you know, perceived level with that too, which is good. Sometimes can be better than just, you know, like I said, raising the fader, like whatever. So yeah, I mean, those are pretty much like I think the most important things. I would say, like, if anything, the most important thing is like try to get away from level matching, because I still see a lot of people like level matching and stuff, and I just think that takes the fun out of mixing. So yeah, that's pretty much it.